Hey folks, I'm Mike. Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/Inkdependence. It keeps this blog ad-free. Hello folks, and welcome to Inkdependence.com. Today we're taking a look at this. This is the Rosetta Notes ink sample book from iPenStore.com. This is fountain pen friendly paper milled, manufactured, and printed in Michigan, USA, which is a nice touch. It's a little extra American. It's got all that stuff. This is 65-pound smart white paper, which is nice bright white, and it also says on the website that it's French paper. I'm not really sure what that means. Perhaps that's a style of paper that I'm not familiar with, but yeah, French paper. These are 2x4. They come with 100 of these cards. They are bound on a big I don't know, brass-looking ring, although it says it's not a brass ring, it's just a brass-looking ring. And they go for $7 right now. That it appears to be a sale price on the iPenStore.com web store. I don't know the iPenStore folks, but I had a friend of mine say, hey, we found these new things at a pen show, and so she picked some up and sent them to me. Well, I mean, I paid her, but anyway, she bought some for me is what I should say. And so I decided to give them a test because as a guy with a lot of inks, I also do a lot of ink swatching. Like, I need to be able to find an ink swatch and compare it to other things and, you know, have it quick at hand, all that jazz. So these are great little things. I actually used to use these. In fact, I think everybody used to use these back in the day. I have a couple extra packs. These are Mormons Dumisani word cards. They're slightly larger format than the 2x4, just a little bit larger. They're a little bit more ivory instead of white, like a creamy sort of color, and they have a bunch of texture to them. So they made fairly good ink swatching cards. But you know, let's take a look at how these perform, and then talk about another competitor we can sort of compare them directly to. All right. So first thing I did was I went ahead and just wrote a bunch of things. So I've got Colorverse Cat here, which is a glistening ink. You can see that glisten. It's got a lot. Colorverse Cat is a really cool ink, actually, if you like any kind of shimmer. Robert Oster Bronze, which is a neat, like, dark greeny brown sort of ink. Tasha Eby, Tasha Dye, because those were in pens at the time. Three Oysters Marine Green, Monteverde Smoke Noir, and Diamine Skull and Roses. And all of these seem like they went fine. It was a nice texture to write on. They didn't bleed through, which is good. This is only 65-pound paper, which is actually it's a little bit lighter than you tend to get for these word cards. Does it say what these are on the Mormon ones? It does not. It doesn't have any of that information. So I don't know, and they don't make these anymore, so I can't really check. But they're definitely heavier than the 65-pound. So after that, I went ahead and did some swatching. I started out with some things that were just in front of me on my desk. I've got Robert Oster's Blue Water Ice, which is always a favorite, Tasha Dye, and Organic Studios 18, which is, I believe, a Michigan... Maryland exclusive ink for 18. It might have been the Baltimore Pen Show last year or something. I don't really remember. I've had that bottle for a while. Pretty sure I got it from Bert Oster. And then on the back, you can see that the Blue Water Ice did bleed through, and I went ahead and wrote some more things here. I did get some feathering here from this ink. This is Three Oysters... But Doldam, I believe, is what that one's called. And it's a little bit of an oddball, and it does tend to feather on some stuff that other things don't. So I'm not going to hold that too much against these cards. You get a little bit down here at the end, too, but that's where it was already bled through from the other side. That was a rollerball. I've got, this is Platinum Black. I've got some, that's a fountain pen ink, Colorverse. I believe this is maybe Photon. That seems about right. One of those. Anyway... it seems okay, except for this bit of bleed, and also, let's talk about this warp. A lot of times when you put ink on paper, especially when you lay it on like this, you end up with some warp. You don't usually end up with this, and the other thing is that usually it relaxes. This is on the back page of this, and so it was sitting underneath there for, it's actually been a couple of months because I did this and then I forgot all about it. So it's been a while, but it never unwarped or flattened, which is not great. So if I have a whole bunch of these in here and I put ink on them, it's gonna look bad. So that's a bit of a problem. I don't know if that's because of something particular about the paper, or if it's just because it's a 65-pound paper instead of a heavier one. But that's a little bit of a worrying sign. So let's take a look at some larger swatches like I usually do. We have here Three Oysters Min, which is a very nice blue. We've got this one called Small Endowment Winter October, which I believe is a Pin BBS ink, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't actually say that on the bottle. There's a lot of Chinese on the bottle that I can't read. Then here we have Color versus Dark Energy, which is kind of an awesome, mauve color. And then here, Organic Studios Thoreau Walden Pond Blue, which is not blue. That is, my screen is not wrong. That actually is a really dark green mostly. And you can see like just a touch of sheen around the edge. And that's actually where we should start comparing these things, because if you know anything about Organic Studios Walden Pond Blue, this might look a little bit odd to you, because this, where'd it go? Ha, here it is. Because Walden Pond Blue should look like this. These are pretty diffuse lights that I use for this filming, but Walden Pond Blue is a sheen monster ink. It's right up there with Nitrogen and a couple of others that Organic Studios makes. And somehow this Rosetta, which, I mean, look at that warp, pretty awesome. Somehow this Rosetta has eaten all the sheen off of Walden Pond Blue. I don't know how that happened. You see a little bit here in the edges, like a suggestion of sheen, perhaps. If I can get it in just the right spot. But this is what you're supposed to see when you see Walden Pond Blue, and that is just this crazy purpley sheen. The base color is sheen. So that's a problem for me. Then also Colorverse Dark Energy, also known for a good amount of green sheen, which is just kind of totally absent in the Rosetta version and present in the other. Then Small Endowment, which actually I think fared pretty well on the Rosetta notes, because there's not really much to go for sheen here. You do see a little bit of purple edge sheen on this one, and none really here. Maybe some right in here, just a little bit, but nowhere else to my eye. Maybe right here, but it's fair the best, but still it ate the sheen, which is kind of weird. And then lastly, oh wait, not lastly. Not even close, actually. Three Oysters Min. Three Oysters Min does have a little bit of extra sheen here around these edges if you put down enough. I put down more actually here than I did on this one. Again, there's the warp as opposed to this one, and no sheen at all. So again, ate the sheen. And then just a couple others. I've got Organic Studio 18 here. Is also, again, a fairly heavy sheen ink. It's not the same amount of sheen as Walden Pond, but there's definitely sheen there and none here. And then Robert Oster Blue Water Ice, which I love because it has this cool edge sheen here and then all over in this splatter. None. You got a little bit of a darkness here, but that's not a sheen. You might have to trust me. If it looks like sheen on the camera, it's just not. So yeah, no sheen here at all, which is, that's a weird thing. I don't really know how it's eating the sheen, but it is. So what is this competing product that I've been talking about? That would be the coloring card, the coloring ink testing book, which I think is just a superior product. It costs $10, which I think is the actual regular price of the Rosetta notes. It is 100-pound paper, which is a bright white. It's the same kind of bright white as the Rosetta notes, but it doesn't bleed. It allows sheen. You get all those cool ink properties that you would get, or that you should be able to see when you're documenting what inks look like. The Rosetta notes are all made in Michigan. The coloring stuff, the paper comes from a 400-year-old European mill, but it is locally sourced in Kansas City and printed, designed, and assembled in Kansas City, as you can see here. Designed by well-appointed desk. That's Anna and her husband at Skylab Letterpress prints it for them. So I think just kind of overall, the coloring card is a better product. I bought all of this stuff, but this one, like, as you can see, what you see is what you get. I do know Anna, and I don't know the iPen Store folks, but I mean, you can't really argue with that. You're supposed to see all the properties. So yeah, if you're going to spend some money on a thing to document your inks and catalog what your inks are going to look like, get yourself some color rings, or even better, get yourself some Colodex cards, which are the same paper but with cutouts for a Rolodex. I've started using these, and I got a couple of Rolodexes, and they're great. So, I'm going to switch over to these eventually, but I don't want to re-swab everything. But yeah, get yourself some color rings. I would say probably skip the Rosetta notes. I hate giving anything a real negative review, but these products are identical in in all other ways. They are both 2x4. They both come 100 to a pack. The regular prices are the same. The whiteness appears at least, if not identical, very close to identical. I don't know what the whitenesses are of these guys, but they're both white. But this one wins. So get yourself some color decks. Maybe skip this one. I will see y'all later. Peace out.